to Domestic Talk. You guys know me, I'm Domestic Dude. You guys know I'm all about teaching about, handguns, AR-15s, carbines, and just general knowledge, situational awareness to improve your life. So today, we're going to do something a little different. We actually have our first guest, but due to COVID-19, our partner would invite him over to the couch. But we have great technology, so I have Chris with me today to just discuss about, the leadership of NFAC, Wisconsin, and just general understanding about things that is going on in the U.S. today. So, Chris, let's deconstruct and take a look at the NFAC from the aspect of organization, leadership, and the surroundings. I don't want to use this word consciousness of their current leader. So I want you to break down based on the tenet of all the experiences that you have around the world, and I know that you have when it comes to forming an organization from scratch. So I just want you to put in a layman's time where the ghost can get it for people to understand and why we are pushing, or when we're looking at it from our point of view, why we see what we see.
Right. Okay. So when we actually create a group, I would normally form a community meeting. Okay. I find maybe the leader of the community, depending on what country it is, and you have to find out, like, are they a religious group? What drives these people, to come together? A lot of times it's church. Okay, it has to do with religion, whether it be Islam, Christianity, Judaism, something like that. Religion plays a very big part in a lot of things. Okay, so even in Afghanistan, even though we really mess with the clerics and the imams too much, when we had a shura, okay, it was to get people together to see what they thought of creating a group, to protect the villages from insurgent terrorist activity. All right. And even in different countries, like in Africa, like on the continent of Africa, I had to do on my operational planning, to find out, okay, which group am I going to deal with? It has to be a grassroots group because it can't be the police, So I'm always looking for grassroots groups, and I'm always finding what drives, these groups. And a lot of times it falls down to religion, Christianity, Islam, but something's going to drive them. Okay. So,
Let me ask you, I'm glad you brought that up. So I'm going to kind of relate that, since I have the analysis skills. I'm kind of relate that what's bringing back home here in the U.S., right? And this is just a correlation, all right? I'm not saying it's so. I'm going to kind of give you guys, my followers, the guys who are listening to us, a correlation of what's currently going on and why you have like organizations like the NFAC forming, right? So in any society, so let's take a look at the U.S., right? So you got this great divide right now between so-called white and black, right? Great divide. So you have one faction. I'm gonna say faction, right? One faction that doesn't see or doesn't understand why another faction. Okay, so you have the white faction that doesn't see and understand why black people are constantly saying the same thing. Say, hey, listen, you guys, because of the structure of what's been going on in this country over 400 years, you guys are not able to see and feel what we feel, right? And us as black people always telling them, hey, this is what's occurring. But then you have on the white side where they say, well, I don't see anything. You guys look like you're doing great. Well, so the reason I'm trying to put this so you guys understand this is that within that area, there's a gap. And wherever there's a gap, this is where anybody that has nefarious reasons will operate to continue to divide that gap so they can gain the power necessary for whatever reason they want to use it for. It can be to get political power. It can be to become a bigger gang. It can be to topple a government. It can be a myriad of reasons, but that exists on that gap, what I call the gray area. a really skillful individual will exploit that area, right? So that's what currently that's what I'm seeing in the U.S. Right? We have this gap between black and white, where a few people are getting in to exploit for their own personal gain or benefit. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris.
And you know, it's the same pretty much anywhere. You know? And we can go back to human nature and human behavior. They're acultural and they're always constant. Okay, there really no changes in that. And people are people all around the world. And when you're creating these groups, it's not so much about what your agenda is. It has to be about the agenda and how it's going to affect your people and what's the group's end state, you know. And I think that's what you have to look at. You can't be an egotistical, narcissistic leader and expect good things to come out of what you're trying to do. It's just not going to happen. Okay, because once I see that you're an egotistical, narcissistic individual, right? I'm me personally. If I feel that, you know, you're not ready for leadership, I mean, I just can't come in, you know, now and be like, well, you know what, you're no longer the leader. Okay, but we have our ways of getting you out of leadership.
Yeah,
and replacing you with someone else.
And I'll be honest with you, I think we have about 10,000 hours of doing that. And I kind of hit that earlier, saying that I have, you know, means and ways of doing effective leadership change.
Right. And that's, you know, the thing where, you know, people or these leaders need they start to get a little bit of, their heads really big, you know? And the thing about it is you have to maintain a level head when you're in a leadership position, you know, because eventually it's going to come back to what I said, toxic leadership, okay, to where that individual ends up becoming a dictator. And you don't want that, you know, in your group, but at the same time, you don't want the tail wagging the dog either. See what I'm saying?
All right. So Chris, all right. So after I made this video, you and I actually had a conversation. You kind of spurred me to do something I haven't done in a while. Because before even I made the first video I made, which was my first domestic talk, I did you know me, I do research on anything, you know. I research things, but I didn't do a really deep dive into Grandmaster Jay's background and history or nothing. But I purely looked at him from the standpoint of him being the leader of the NFAC, right? That's what I looked at when I did my first video. And I still stand corrected. I still stand behind my video that from what he put out, from my analysis, and I'm very good at this, I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I know how to study human terrain. I know how to study human behavior. I understand it very well. That he has some leadership issue. Now, you kind of pointed out to it earlier, right? That he has the gift of the gab. He has the ability to organize people. And I actually gave him the credit for that in the first video. I said, hey, this guy seems to have the ability to bring people together. Because like I tell you, you know, Chris, it is hard to get 10 people to do one thing. We know this, right?
Very much so. That's very difficult to do. So if he's got all these people together, you know, and he's reached out to different gun groups, you know, however many gun groups there are in the United States, African-American gun groups there are in the United States, black gun groups. I mean, he brought them under the umbrella of the coalition of NFAC. And that's, you know, that's pretty good. Now,
I mean, you're right.
I don't know how many members NFAC really has. None of us do. But under the coalition, he's bringing people under the umbrella. You know, they may
and that's credit to him. I mean, you can't take that away from him. Right. I mean, and I've said that from day one. Whenever I looked, I see, okay, that is credit to him. But now, like as you know, and we've seen this, just because you have one strength. Because I said leadership has different facets to it, right? You may start something, but you may have to hand it over to somebody else because it gets to a point where you can no longer, because you don't have the managerial skills for you to be able to manage that in whatever you started. And this is my thing with this guy, right? So now like I said, after I spoke to you, Chris, I went and did a deep dive, and I'm very good at that. I did a complete deep dive, and I did a bunch of research. There's a bunch of people out on YouTube around all that really going into this guy personally. And I'm not gonna make this personal. I don't care about that. To me, it's not constructive at all. Period. All right. It doesn't do anyone any good. But after my deep dive, I had this whoa moment to say, whoa, if this thing continue the way it's going to continue, the end results, and I'm going to say, Chris, you can disagree with me or don't disagree with me, and this is my personal, from my deep dive and understanding human terrain and understanding different faction and competing efforts, that this organization may not last a year.
I totally agree. And due to the lack of discipline, okay, due to lack of discipline, due to the lack of structure of that group, it's going to implode eventually, and that's what I've seen. I commented on somebody on this young lady that was part of the group, and she was calling for other like black bikers to join in, whatever. And I'm just like, don't you have a chain of command? That's like out of your purview. You don't sit there and invite other groups in. I said that should be done by people who are delegated to do that. If you're not delegated to do that, then just stay in your lane. And that's something that I saw. And then I believe there's been a lot of infighting, and that's going to happen because everybody wants to be the top dog. When things are going good, everybody wants to be the top dog, And I don't know if you know or not, but there's been Grandmaster Jay, matter of fact, fired, got rid of one of his commanders out of Florida, and he came out and said what exactly was going on. And
would that be that? What's his name? I think it was I think he goes by the name of Def Con
Delta. I think,
Delta Def Con. I think without doing my deep dive, I came across his name.
Right, and he basically came out and said, Grandmaster Jay was doing this, blah blah, all this stuff. And I kind of believe it based upon his behavior. You see?
Yeah, and the study. I used to do what I used to call it. Well, that's not. It's actually a doctrinal term. Pattern of life study. Looking at things. Because if thing present itself, the same thing keep presenting itself. After 3 or 4 or 5, 6 times, it becomes a pattern, right?
Exactly.
After 5 times, it becomes a pattern. So from there, you can deduce a lot of things from that pattern, and then you can make what I call educational guesses as what's going to happen next.
Right.
And majority of the time, those educational guesses are how can I put this? We will see. You and I both, you've seen it. We've used it where we're 90% sure that this is going to occur next. How many times we've been wrong? I don't think we've been maybe 10% of the time we're wrong.
Yeah, you can't be 100% right all the time. So
no, so
you got that margin of error.
Yeah,
like for example, Breonna Taylor's mother. Okay, she was supposed to show up at the rally in Kentucky, and they said she was like 5 minutes away. But Grandmaster Jay said, "Hey, you know what? Show's over. She should have been there," and they got up and left her.
Wow, he did.
Yeah, that's one of the things he said. And the other thing he said was, hey, you know what? Don't get involved in any shootout. Don't do anything reckless, because if you do, I'm going to have to turn you over to the police.
Wow.
Right? So, and we were talking about how this is an intelligence operation, okay? And because I work in that field and, creating groups, I'm kind of like, you know what? Like I said, it's an anomaly to the baseline, okay? Because one thing we don't do is we don't advertise what we're doing, You know,
Yeah.
once these groups are created, there's no social media. You know, there's none of that. Everything's pretty much. I mean, people know about the group, but not openly, and we're not going to discuss internal matters over the internet. Okay,
Definitely.
and because that's just like giving the enemy ammunition. Okay, and talking about this being an intelligence operation. These are some things that I'm seeing. Um, One, I'm taking a look at it from the way that we do things. Okay, and you know, a lot of times, and we talked about the Black Identity Extremist movement, where the Bureau, and I think it's Homeland Security, back in from 2016 to 2019, they were looking to lock up Black Identity Extremist group guys that were what we call Black militants or revolutionaries.
Yeah, they had a list. They created a list.
Right, right. And then one thing Grandmaster Jay said, he said, "I am the, you know, I am the that one, the Black Messiah." But J. Edgar Hoover came out and said, it's during the Civil Rights era, there will never again be another Black Messiah unless we create him. So when Grandmaster Jay said that, I was like, so what, you're telling me you work for the government right off the bat? Is that what you're telling me? I mean,
Wow.
like, you know, I mean, you don't say something like that because, but here's the thing: most people aren't going to research anything like that, you know.
No,
So,
no.
but with him saying that on one of his previous videos prior to the one at Stone Mountain, I'm just like, okay, so now you're telling me you work for the government. That's basically what you're telling me. And then for him to gather all those people together, okay, and you know what, give it all we need is your email address, or you know, you send us this information through whatever channels, okay. I consider those can be collection points, intelligence collection points to gather information and data on people that have joined.
Yeah. I
You know,
mean, and Chris, I mean, you know me, I'm not a conspiracy type of guy, but I worked in facts, what my eyes showed me, patterns and states. Like, you know, what is our something trying to achieve? Whatever, if I'm trying to disrupt that thing, right? Because I need to know what that thing is trying to do. You can't disrupt something if you don't know what they're trying to do. So for me, looking at this organization, right? I don't buy conspiracy theory, but what is it's the leadership right now, and I'm talking about leadership, one individual is presenting all kind of channel to this idea that I've heard. Actually, well, I think you might be the first person that mentioned it to me about this intelligent operation. But when I did my deep dive after I spoke to you, there's a lot of other individuals out there pointing to this, right?
right,
Because the pattern fit. It
right,
fits to what it is. Like I tell people, listen, folks, I don't believe in conspiracy, right? But if something keeps presenting itself as the facts and it keeps pointing to a direction, yeah, I say, from my experience in life, it if it's pointing that direction, must be.
right. And that's kind of like how I took it. And you know, when he was bringing these people underneath the coalition under the umbrella of NFAC, I was like, why are you broadcasting who's part of or under NFAC? You know what I'm saying? To me, that's like you're snitching. You know, you don't have to. You don't have to get on the phone anymore and be like, hey, these are the members in my group. Him being on YouTube all the time and giving these so-called shout outs, and who was ever watching can be like, okay, you got this group, you got this group. They're not part of NFAC, but they fall under the umbrella of NFAC. Okay, we'll check them off. You know, we'll check this group off. We'll check this group off. And we'll find out, okay, now we can investigate these groups and find out who the people are inside the groups. You see what I'm saying?
And you know what, Chris? You brought up a very, very, very valuable point from my world experience or all around the world. All right. There's a thing we call operational security.
Offset.
Right?
Exactly.
Operational security is one of the key things you guide against anything, because this is the reason why a lot of units I've been a member of operating compartments. Not because they don't trust the individual. It's the fact that you never get a clear picture of the whole organization, who's what, who's doing what. You may have a general idea, but you have to do a lot of analysis, a lot of man moving power for you to be kind of get a full picture. And because right now it seems like you can go on YouTube and pretty much put the entire picture of NFAC from one individual. Yep. And that's me right there. That is a failure of understanding. And I think you and I, we had a discussion off mic, off camera about, chess against checkers. And I remember, I think we might even have some discussion like this in Afghanistan where I said, I don't play checkers, I play chess. Not because checkers is not fun. Actually, checkers is pretty fun, But I play chess because I'm not a sprinter. I'm a long distance runner.
Right.
All right. And I don't plan for one day. I have a 3 weeks out, 90 days out. Okay. 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 and 20-year plan. I mean, I even have a plan to all the way till the day I decide my energy returns back to wherever it came from. But this is not, I remember I told you, I said that the Chinese, a lot of people want to talk nonsense about China. Chinese or even, I believe I'm a complete, folks, let me explain something to you guys. I came to this country, put on my oath, and I've defended this nation. All right. I believe in democracy. I believe individual rights. I believe in the Second Amendment. All right. And Chris will tell you, Chris, do I ever hesitate to defend this nation?
Nope.
I don't. I have no crumb. Because if you come at me the wrong way, I bring the violence of action necessary to defend my brethren, my team members, Chris, and everybody else that work with me. But the Chinese, I think, have an advantage over us most of the time because the Chinese think long term.
Right.
Are we planning for 10 years or the next election? The Chinese are planning for 100, 150 years out. And I think this is one of our detriment as black people in America, right? Yes, I know we have all the emotional baggage. 400 years, you just can't wipe that out. You can't. That's a lot of tremendous psychological operations being placed upon us. However, I truly believe, Chris, that we are very emotional, and I understand why, but we need to start playing checkers and start playing chess.
All day. I totally agree with that, 110%. But a lot of people, and a lot of groups are emotional thinkers, and that's just not where we need to be as a group of people. We need logical, analytical thinkers, people that have good reasoning skills. You know what I'm saying? People like that, because once you become an emotional thinker, man, it just fails all the way around. People tell you never make an important decision while you're angry.
We know the consequence of that.
Right.
Very well.
Right, because there's consequences behind that, right?
Yeah.
So,
always.
You have to put your feelings aside, from all of that, and just focus on what is. Here are the facts. Deal with the facts, and let the chips rest where they may.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Well, yeah, no, you're right, Chris. You're right. But let me just go ahead and let's wrap this up. So like I said earlier, and I'm going to put it back again so people understand. Folks, Grandmaster Jay, this is straight to you. If you're always welcome to come here, and I'm quite sure Chris will have no issue if I can get hold of him to get back on here, and we can have an open discussion. And maybe we are wrong. And be honest with you, Grandmaster Jay, I want to be wrong. And I'm quite sure, I'm not speaking for Chris, I'm quite sure Chris, maybe we want to be wrong. I truly want to be wrong. So I'm going to give you an open invitation. No emotional. We can state the facts. Because I want to know what your end state is. All right? Because I really want you to succeed. That is my goal. I don't want to see you fail, because failure, you guys will create a setback for us that will be more detrimental to overcome. Because we've seen what happened when an organization similar to yours fail. I mean, people are not going to have to give it to you. Go do the research yourself and understand that. All right. So, Chris, what final thing you want to say about Grandmaster Jay and the NFAC? Give me something that is a constructive, something you think that they can do to kind of do a course correction.
All right. Well, the next course of action, I think they're going to, you're going back to Louisville, Kentucky on the 5th.
Okay.
Now, Grandmaster Jay, during that Stone Mountain formation, had called out white supremacists. Okay. Now the white supremacists are coming out. and they're planning to meet him in Louisville, Kentucky on the 5th. Okay. He's made threats against law enforcement. He's made, Grandmaster Jay, made threats against law enforcement. He's made threats against white people and black people. All right. So now, like I said, these groups are starting to come out, and they're gonna meet him up on the 5th, of September down in Louisville, Kentucky. Now, just the other day, Grandmaster Jay sat there and said that he did not want to put his people in harm's way. This is what he said. So you're trying to tell me the March of Stone Mountain, where you said whites had threatened to kill blacks on the 4th of July, and you took your people up this Stone Mountain to confront them, but you're not going to put your people in harm's way, yet they hadn't been trained, okay? They don't know how to work their firearms, but you're not going to put them in harm's way. Like, that makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah.
Okay? You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So it's one, I'm looking at from the intelligence operation of two things, or even both. One, they're trying to lock up these black revolutionaries, the radicals, the militants, the revolutionaries. Two, they're going to look at creating a race war, okay, a major race war, all right, and it's going to, it could kick off, on the 5th of September. It's possible. It may not. But all these groups are now converging on Louisville because of what Grandmaster Jay has said. I'm calling you white supremacists out. Okay, well, now they're coming out. But yet you said you want to keep your people out of harm's way, right? You can't have it both ways, man. And you're a militia, right? And you have all these guns, and you said you're trained, and all your people are ex-military, and you're trained. Well, guess what? We're about to see what really happens, okay? Because it may not be his end state, but whoever pulling the strings on NFAC, that might be their end state. Okay, it's going to be this, we're going to lock up all your people, or you're going to we're going to have a race war, and we're going to get rid of you and all your people, or maybe we'll just pull you out, Grandmaster Jay, and let the rest of these people here in your crew, whatever happens, happens. So a lot of black people are going to get killed, and a lot of black people are going to get arrested. That's kind of like what I'm seeing.
Okay. And folks, I mean, listen, I don't ever condone violence, all right? The only time I say, look, you have to, if your persons is threatened, but that you don't put yourself in a situation where somebody is willing to bring bodily harm upon you, all right? All right, listen, I have all the gun skills in the world, but I avoid any situation where I get my family or myself get threatened. Not because I'm a coward, not because I'm afraid. Okay, I've been there, done, they got a t-shirt, all right? A lot of people that talk all this nonsense about, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this, they've never been in a gunfight or a gun battle, never been blown up. They don't understand the psychological toll it takes on you.
Right.
So we're not condemning any violence. I don't want any violence to happen on nobody, white and particularly us as Black people. Like I said, we need to stop playing chess. All right, we need to get off from this checker mentality. All right, I don't want violence. Trust me, if you ever been in a gunfight, you would never want to be in a gunfight. Okay, don't let all this YouTube Hollywood guys show you think that it's cool. No, it's not cool. I'm telling you, I got a t-shirts. All right, it's so what I'm getting from what Chris is saying this on this, and I'm glad you said that too, Chris, because one of their members challenged me to show up information in Louisville on September 5th. So
don't
no, I mean, I laughed it off, but this is what I'm going to say to that member. I think one of their top members actually came on left a note on my thing, and this is what I said. This is what I'm going to say. I'm saying, listen, I challenge you to find your best 5 guys and come meet me, and maybe I may help you guys get some not just a tactical training, but some strategic thinking. You know, so I'm challenging you guys. I'm strategy. No, come send your best 5 guys. You can get out of your organization, and I'm not gonna put them on YouTube. They're not gonna be on YouTube, and we can sit down and talk about some strategic thinking. You know, and maybe you guys can give me some education of their end state, and I just really want to understand why they're doing what they're doing. Now I do understand why they're doing what they're doing. I understand why it came about. Like I said earlier, I think there are members in this organization, Chris, that are true in heart. They have no hatred against white folks. They have no hatred against anybody. They just want to see that their community, Black community, stop being mistreated. And if you're anything about yourself, just like I know you, you know me, I don't want to see us mistreated at all. You know, I will fight for injustice no matter where I am in the world. If I see something that is wrong, I'm gonna see what I can do to fix it. But I'm not going to create more wrong to correct a wrong. See what I mean?
Right, exactly.
Say that now. All right, guys and girls and ladies and gentlemen that are listening. If you guys want to join this podcast and you have something constructive for our tribe, so we can move this tribe forward, go ahead and send your information at info. That's INFOR at diplomatguns, guns with a Z. .com. All right, and it's flashing below the screen. Go ahead and send your information. And for those of you who just want to send hate, please keep that to yourself, because you're just wasting your time and your effort. You're getting a response back from me. But for those of you who want to move our tribe forward and maybe want to have a discussion between myself and Chris, and you're welcome to come if you have something to offer that is going to move us forward, so we can strengthen our tribe and make ourselves better, and so we can live this American dream. All right. So, and folks, do not forget, if you love what you heard, the exchange between me and Chris, please subscribe, like, share this video with all your friends, and join us for the next podcast. And like I said, we get better and better at this. I mean, this channel is for our tribe, so we can learn some stuff. All right, so I'm gonna bring subject matter expert, because I'm not an expert in everything. Yes, I got 10,000 hours in things, but I'm gonna seek those that do these things and understand and bring them in to kind of discuss things, so they can challenge me and push me. In turn, I can challenge you guys that follow us and subscribe to our channel and challenge you guys. All right, so please support the channel so we can do this thing again. All right, so Chris, my friend, and like I said, we got Chris information. It'll also be down in the what is it called? Hello, what is that called? It'll be down in the notes section. So how to get hold of Chris. Chris is a great dude, man. Great wealth of knowledge. Guy knows a lot. I've seen. I know. He has a T-shirt, and his T-shirt is real. I have several T-shirts. I just don't wear them. But by the way, I'm wearing this one today. You know, if you like the T-shirt I'm wearing, just like I said, just reach out to us at info@diplomatguns.com and so you figure out how you get this T-shirt. You know, it's got the DGZ logo on it. It's got, you know, the same for Mandela. I never lose. I either win or learn. It's not right, Chris. We never lose.
That's it, brother.
We never lose. If we don't win, we learn something.
No, wait, we always either win or we learn.
Or we learn. So, folks, thank you guys for continuing to support our channel. Till the next time, this has been Domestic Talk. See you guys. Don't forget to check out the rest of the other videos.